What is up? Robert Smetana here, and today we're going to talk about smoothies and what can potentially go wrong in the making of a smoothie that might decrease its health benefits or even lead to negative health effects. So, in general, why would you want to make smoothies? Well, apart from their good taste, if you do them right. Well, it's just a very easy, quick, and convenient way to get larger amounts of fruits and vegetables into your diet and thereby profit from the large variety of health benefits that come with larger intake of fruits and vegetables for your overall health, but also for your skin health. You can imagine you're pretty much outsourcing the chewing process to the machine, which is the blender. And thereby it's much easier to, say, for example, consume a smoothie containing a cup of spinach than it is to chew a cup of spinach in the form of a salad, right? However, there are a few things that can go wrong, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So firstly, when you blend up fruits, you might increase their glycemic index, which might then lead to more rapid increase in blood sugar levels and insulin levels, which can lead to an array of negative health effects, especially when we're looking at acne. We know that a low glycemic index diet is important to improve acne, so that is something we want to look out for. This seems to not be true for all fruits. Like berries, for example, tend to be so rich in certain phytonutrients that slow down sugar absorption that you can even blend them up or use as a juice. But it is reasonable to assume that most fruits will rather have a increase in their glycemic index when you blend them up, and the reason is that you make it much easier for your body, for your digestive tract, to get to the sugar because you massively increase the surface size, even much better than when you would chew it yourself, and therefore your enzymes can very quickly get to the sugar molecules and they can be absorbed much quicker. It's by far not as bad as fruit juices, because when you have fruit juices, you've actually removed all the fiber, and the fiber is important to thicken the food mix, and which then leads to a slower passage of the intestinal tract and slower gastric emptying. And also the phytonutrients in the fruits are often bound to fiber. Many of those phytonutrients, like I said about berries, actually slow down the sugar absorption. So there are a few ways we can work around that. First off, drink the smoothie slowly. Don't throw it all down in a few seconds. But take your time. Imagine that if you had the same amount of fruits and you would eat them regularly, it would also take you quite a bit of time to get it all into your system. Same should be true for the smoothie. Secondly, focus on vegetables. Have some fruits in there, of course. It needs to taste good as well, but get larger amounts of vegetables in there, which have all the beneficial phytonutrients, but not the problem with the sugar. Thirdly, you can drink the smoothie with a meal, and in the meal you might have some fat and some more fiber, which again slows down gastric emptying. The second possible pitfall with smoothies is that they might facilitate overconsumption of calories. Overweight and obesity are risk factors for the development of acne and of course many other diseases. And you can imagine that when you have a liquid food, you can again consume calories much quicker in a shorter time frame, and therefore not get the feeling of satiety quick enough as you would if you took more time eating and chewing the whole foods. So again, same measures should be taken regarding this point. Don't drink the smoothie super quickly, but take your time, zip by zip, and then that is less of a problem. The other point, again, fiber is very important. So we see this phenomenon of overconsumption of calories, especially with soft drinks and juices. With smoothies, it's a little bit less of a problem because you have the fiber, especially if you add a lot of vegetables, maybe some nuts, maybe even some whole grains, then this is much less of a problem. So the third point is that even though you should drink the smoothie slowly, you want to drink it soon. Don't let it sit on the counter forever, because when you blend all the ingredients, you enrich the entire food mix with a lot of air and thereby oxygen. and the oxygen can lead to the oxidation of many nutrients. And you can actually see that. Just prepared one. I don't know if you can, I hope you can see it, that there are many little bubbles in there. And so you can imagine that by blending it, you've massively increased the surface size of the ingredients, and you enriched it with oxygen, and thereby, again, the degradation of those oxygen sensitive nutrients. So don't make a huge pitcher of smoothie all at once. Rather prepare some chopped fruits and vegetables beforehand, and then only prepare as much as you can drink in one sitting. And then next point, be careful with store-bought smoothies. So many of the store-bought smoothies actually contain large amounts of fruit juices. So they're not all puree, but actually partly fruit juices. When we talked about fruit juices, they lack the fiber and the nutrients bound to the fiber. You have the larger increase in blood sugar and all that. Also, actually, when you buy, for example, a green smoothie, oftentimes it's a green glass bottle. But when you look at the liquid itself, it's sort of grayish because the time that it has been sitting on the shelf and the heat treatment to increase the shelf life actually degrade many of the phytonutrients and many of the colorful nutrients in there. So rather stick to your homemade smoothie there. And next point, add some fat. We talked about the satiety effect. So when you add some nuts in there, you get more fiber, and the fat and the fiber slow the gastric emptying. But it is also about the fat-soluble vitamins or nutrients in general. And those might, for example, be carotenoids, which might be especially important for skin health because they actually accumulate in the top skin layer, in the keratinocytes. And from there, they are also excreted with the sebum and might protect the sebum from oxidation. And oxidation of the sebum is actually thought to be the first step in the formation of acne. So some fat sources that I would recommend are walnuts, hemp seeds, chia seeds, and flax seeds, because all of them also contain large amounts of omega-3 fatty acids, which are again important to reduce inflammation. And then last point, don't overdo it with oxalate-rich vegetables. Those are spinach, chard, or beet leaves, for example, because they are perfectly healthy foods, but don't overdo it. Don't eat several hundred grams of them every day. Otherwise, you might end up like this lady who did a juice cleanse and ended up with kidney damage, as those oxalate-rich vegetables, the oxalate can accumulate and form kidney stones. And that's just another example that many of those fats and cleanses and detox, etc., are really not science-based. So be careful with that. All right, and with that, I think you know everything to enjoy safe and healthy smoothies. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.